Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host Nathan P. Butler, author of A Saga on Home Video, now available in hardback, paperback, and as a Kindle print replica copy, as a 3-volume full-color set of the second edition through Amazon. That is a fan's guide, by the way, to U.S. Star Wars Home Video releases. Very comprehensive, though it does take in a lot of sidebars from other regions, and that's kind of what we're doing with this episode here. We're going to look at something here that you would think I would have had in my collection before, but I just haven't. Just not something that I ever took the time to pick up, despite picking up other stuff that kind of relates to it around it. But thanks to Jeff Rabjohns, who helped me secure a couple of these that were complete, as opposed to being ones that were sort of piecemeal or missing slipcovers and stuff like that from over in the UK, I'm now able to show them here on the show and make a quick comparison to what we saw from the US. It's not going to be something earth-shattering, but for those who've been wondering, why haven't these been shown? It's because I didn't have them, but now I do. So, you may recall that in the US in 2011, there were 3 different Blu-ray releases that you could have gotten. There was the Complete Saga, at the time, right? Episodes 1 through 6, 2011 Blu-ray cuts. This was in that interesting digibook form, with that hard outer cover, and the digibook-style interior, with those cardboard pages that you slip the discs into. This was both really nice looking and for many fans really frustrating because there were claims a lot of times about discs being scratched. I've not experienced that myself, but that was one of the common complaints about this style of packaging. We will come back to the complaints about that style and how the UK addressed it differently. But also in the US, we had the prequel trilogy done as a Blu-ray set here. Nice slipcover with the interior case here, which then included a little insert, plus the 3 discs on their little arms. That was one way you could get them, but remember, this was a 9-disc set, all 6 films, plus a bonus disc for the prequels, a bonus disc for the original trilogy, and a bonus disc with spoofs and documentaries on it, whereas this was just the 3 films of the prequel trilogy. You didn't get any of the bonus material whatsoever. The only bonus content at all was audio commentaries, 2 per film, because those were built into the film discs, not a separate bonus disc. And then, of course, we had the original trilogy released in similar fashion over here, again, back in 2011. We've seen these before. In fact, we saw these very early on, back in some of the really crappy video quality episodes, I believe, of the show in its early days. We're well over 400 episodes of the show now, and boy, you could tell the quality change visually over time. And you could tell I keep getting older and older and older. And gaining some weight, too. I kind of look normal now as opposed to looking as scrawny as I used to. But that's neither here nor there. Those were the 3 ways you could get them in the US. And if you pre-ordered at Best Buy, you could actually get a Cinetype, a little film cell reproduction for Complete Saga. We'll actually look at that here in just a second because there's an equivalent from the UK and they're essentially the same. But over in the UK, we've looked at a few things, but we've not looked at the equivalents of all of those yet. We did look at their version of the Complete Saga that had a limited edition version and a regular version. But theirs, while being a nice hard outer case, you notice is bigger overall, right? It is the same height, the same width, but then as soon as you look at it from anything that takes the depth into account, it is a significantly deeper package here. And inside, rather than face the same complaints as the digibook from the US, remember, theirs has those separate pages here, right? The little blue pages. And again, this happens to be the limited edition one. They got that Cinetype, the same one you could get as a pre-order bonus at Best Buy. Little film cell reproduction here on a card. We've looked at that before. Then also from 2011, we did see another one from the UK. That was this one. But we got this one because, you know, it was sort of non-standard, right? No slipcover on it. A little thing here that says, not for individual sale. And inside, a little 5 pounds off at HMV Panasonic reward slip type of thing here. This was that odd version of the original trilogy in the UK that was actually provided with some Panasonic Blu-ray players as a bonus item. It's like a pack-in item, kind of like video game consoles used to be packaged with video games every time. You still sometimes see it now, but not necessarily as often. This is the Star Wars Blu-ray equivalent in the UK of like Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt with the NES action set for the original Nintendo Entertainment System back in the day. That kind of thing. But we never did see the regular versions of these, neither for the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy. Instead, we sort of jumped ahead and saw the 2013 steelbooks of the prequels and the original trilogy coming out of the UK, but it was those steelbooks that included the whole trilogy that didn't have an equivalent in the US from 2013. There were some versions of these like in Japan. This wasn't the only place that had them. But it's like we jumped ahead. We looked at trilogy sets, but we didn't look at sort of the regular trilogy sets that would have been the companion piece to this and the companion to that one with the prequels. Now we finally can, and it's weird that it's taken us so long. So what we're going to look at here is, as you would expect, the prequel and original trilogy 2011 Blu-ray boxed sets from the UK, the standard releases. I would note they do come, if you got the limited edition versions, with Cinetypes, so I'm going to show you the Cinetypes as well, though we have looked at them before. We actually had the Cinetypes to show before having the actual releases to go with them. So, remember in the US, remember the design of our discs, because that will be important here. It's this kind of design, right? Very plain, right? Very clean looking, but also very, very dull and plain. And you probably noticed there was a difference in the labels when flipping through this big old set from 2011 in the UK. That will be the case for the individual trilogies as well. So let's start with the prequel trilogy. Feels a little thicker. So we have Blu-ray, Star Wars, the 3 film titles with the Roman numerals behind them here, your UK and Irish ratings down in the corner. Nothing on top. Bottom is going to be legalese and whatnot there. The spine here has Lucasfilm, 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment, Star Wars 1, 2, 3, just the Roman numerals, no titles there. Ratings, product number, Blu-ray, and THX. And that, again, is a slipcover here. On the back, we've got the Force on Blu-ray. Own every moment, Blu-ray disc symbol. About the product. 3-disc set includes, notes the 3 films again with the names and the Roman numerals behind them. Special features noted here. Not many, it's just basically just the commentary stuff here. The 2 bullet points, one for each commentary track. Some images, stats on the films, your various logos and whatnot. Not for rental with the UPC and the rating explanation down there at the bottom. Again, it is a slipcover like in the US. From a comparison standpoint, they're fairly similar there, except a little bit of their organization and whatnot and the color scheme of the stat boxes and stuff like that. Then inside, similar, basically the same design applied to the front, essentially the same design for the spine, to the back, pretty much the same design here as well, right? So essentially just kind of mirroring it over, scaling it for the fact that it's a paper insert rather than a slipcover. Inside, yes, you will find a little slip here that includes cast crew information and whatnot on the back. There's actually an advertising sheet in this one, which is interesting. I don't think the US ones had it unless I just threw them out. But an advertising slip for the Clone Wars, the complete Season 3 on Blu-ray and DVD, 17th October. Yes, on Blu-ray and DVD in the UK on my birthday that year. This was this was 2011, so this would have been as I was turning 32. I'm old, I have to do the math. Once you start getting the grays and whatnot, your functioning starts to kind of shift on certain things. Figuring out my own age, for some reason, is one of them. And yes, that should trouble you. Anyway, but then the discs, you'll notice, are like the ones we saw in the 2011 set here, right? So we've got Yoda here for Episode 1. We're not going to go through the actual design of the discs because we did do that when we looked at that other 2011 set, the big one. But Dooku and Palpatine here, rather than it being those plain-looking discs. So for someone who likes the look of the discs in their collections, there's not a big difference in terms of the outer packaging of these, but the discs themselves are markedly different, and I would argue more dynamic in their style for the UK sets than we see for the US. But just like in the US, now the toughest thing is finding one that actually still includes the slipcover, hence where Jeff came in to help me out with that. There's also, of course, the original Trilogy set, and we already looked at the UK version without a slipcover that came with a little Panasonic thing and said not for individual sale on it. This is the regular set. It does have a slipcover in its original release. It does have a similar design to the prequel trilogy on the front and the back and the spine. Then you take it out, and the interior package is effectively the exact same thing that we just saw with this recently, with the exception of the fact that this one, instead of saying not for individual sale, this says not for rental, just like the prequel one did. And then, of course, inside, we've got a little sheet again. We've got another of those advertisements for Clone Wars Season 3. And disc-wise, again, same style of disc as what we saw in the prequels or the big set here, just kind of carrying over the same discs for the big set. And we've got Obi-Wan, we've got Chewbacca, and we've got Vader here as the stars of these labels. So, for someone who wants to pick these up, wants to have a copy of the 2011 cuts on Blu-ray, there are several different ways you can go about getting it. But if you want the original releases from 2011, and you want to be able to have the ones that look coolest to you or work better for your collection, these are region-free discs. So if you're someone in the US, you might want to pick up the UK version if you think that the disc art being different and, in my opinion, more dynamic is something that, to you, would drive you towards the other product rather than getting the ones more convenient to here that are available quite widely in the US through places like eBay and whatnot. I did mention the Cinetype, so one last thing to show before we go, that is that in the UK, purchasing the prequel trilogy could have gotten you a Cinetype here. Right, Yoda there. Or a Cinetype, and this may not be in the original packaging, I'm not sure. Or a Cinetype here for the original trilogy. We've looked at these on the show before. The Cinetype for the prequels is basically Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan standing next to Anakin in Phantom Menace as R2-D2 projects the hologram as they're planning the Battle of Naboo. Very difficult to see there for you. And then for the original trilogy, it's Leia, Luke, R2-D2, and C-3PO looking out of the Nebula B frigate after he's got his new hand as the Millennium Falcon flies off into the distance with Lando and Chewbacca, which again, really difficult to see there. You can see it in the book. I did close-up shots of those. We looked at the Cinetypes before, just a nice little bonus thing, but not something you could have gotten in the US. In the US, if you wanted to pick up a version that included a Cinetype bonus item, your only option in 2011 was to pick up the complete saga at Best Buy. There wasn't an option to get one for the other two, which is weird because it did exist, and they're identical across regions for the complete saga, so you would have figured maybe that would have been an option over here for the original and prequel trilogies, but I've never seen any evidence whatsoever that Best Buy offered that for the individual trilogies, only for the complete saga. I'd be happy to be proven wrong, though, because it just seems weird to me looking back on it. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers, whether here, in the UK, or elsewhere, with or without Cinetypes. There's a lot of options. Ooh, a little bonus item after the episode. Some folks had asked, like, where do I keep stuff like the Cinetypes? Do I keep them inside the packages themselves where they can get banged around or something? What do I do with stuff like that? What do I do with J-cards once I take them off the packaging, all that kind of stuff? That is where this comes in. A massive, massive binder, which includes stuff like the Target 2011 lithograph set, PET slipcovers, Force Awakens from South Korea, Cinetypes, and an assembled Metal Earth Millennium Falcon from Solo, J cards, etc., etc. It's also where there's a separate page, which I can show you here, that also, way in the back, has like the promo cards and pins. Yeah, just anything that you don't want to get banged around, that doesn't really have an easy way to put it somewhere else. I mean, it's even where I put like the digital movie promo pack thing, or digital movie pack for The Force Awakens. That one time they made the digital copy available in a little poster pack, a little poster card pack, in stores and so on. So yes, that is where I keep stuff like the Cinetypes. They go in the binder and then they go in the closet, basically. And now you know the rest of the story. Nathan Butler, good day. And if you got that joke, you're old like I am. Congratulations.